So February 2021 was pretty rough for Nintendo Switch owners, most importantly with their wallet because, well, a lot of games came out, and March is arguably just as good, if not better, when it comes to new game releases on the Nintendo Switch. We've got exclusive games, we've got third-party ports, we've got smaller games. There's really something for everyone in the month of March when it comes to the Nintendo Switch. So yes, the Nintendo Switch is going to destroy your wallet again in the month of March. What's going on, guys? I'm RGT85. If this is your first time on the channel, welcome. Be sure to hit that subscribe button and be sure to like the video. But without any further ado, let's talk about the games coming out to the Nintendo Switch in the month of March and try and figure out how I'm going to afford all of these. So kicking things off on March 2nd, we have Harvest Moon One World. Now, technically the Harvest Moon franchise isn't really the Harvest Moon franchise anymore. It has a different name, but really that's a story for a different day. Harvest Moon One World is a bit different than previous Harvest Moon games, in which you visit a bunch of different areas in this game, such as a grasslands area, a desert area, and much more. Of course, in typical Harvest Moon style, you are tending to your animals, but when it comes to crops and stuff like that, it's actually a bit different. You have to find these things called harvest whips to get different fruits and vegetables to plant. And of course, you can even get married in the game if for some reason you want to get married. Harvest Moon is a series that I haven't checked out in quite a while because, like I said, it has sort of shifted to another series that actually gets a game release in this month as well. But for fans of the franchise, you might want to check it out. If you like games like Animal Crossing, Harvest Moon One World should be on your radar when it comes out on March 2nd. On March 4th, we have Sea of Solitude Directors Cut exclusively for the Nintendo Switch. Now, Sea of Solitude, the Director's Cut, takes you through a drowned city where light has been submerged in darkness and metaphorical creatures invoke painful emotions that you, the main character, Kay, must face and overcome. You basically journey with Kay by boat and on foot. You navigate different landscapes, you solve puzzles, and confront the monsters to help you find inner peace and her Sea of Solitude, hence the name Sea of Solitude. Now, the Switch version has exclusive features in it, such as a reworked script, new voice acting, new cutscenes, and more stuff. Yes, it kind of looks a bit artsy-fartsy, but hey, I like what I see with this. I do like the art style of this game, and I never played this game when it came out on other platforms. So Sea of Solitude Director's Cut, when it comes out on March 4th, is definitely a game that I will be checking out. But will you be checking it out? On March 9th, Apex Legends finally hits the Nintendo Switch. Squad up with your team, get your loot, and take everyone out in this free-to-play first-person shooter game. Apex Legends will launch on the Nintendo Switch with support for cross-platform play, the latest seasonal content, and full-feature parity with other versions of the game that are currently available on things like the PlayStation 4 and the Xbox One. Nintendo Switch owners also get 30 free levels for their Season 8 Battle Pass, and for the 2 weeks after the launch of the game, you can get double XP on the Nintendo Switch version of the game. Now, surprisingly, this is a free-to-play game, but there's a physical edition with everything needed to be downloaded, so it's not really a physical edition that you can pick up for $40 that basically has some things like additional boosts in it. I think what we've seen graphically from the game so far does look pretty impressive. Panic Button is behind it, and like I said, it's a free-to-play game, so why not check out Apex Legends when it comes out on March 9th? On March 12th, we have a game that I'm definitely looking forward to, and that is Crash Bandicoot 4 It's About Time. Now, of course, this game originally released on the PlayStation 4 and Xbox One last year, but now it's finally coming to the Nintendo Switch because, well, it didn't really sell all that great on the other platforms. You play as Crash and Coco in this 3D platforming adventure game. You basically collect various masks that can not only alter the gameplay, but the levels themselves. Now, it seems like the visuals have actually been reworked for the Nintendo Switch version. Instead of just a downgrade in resolution, they actually look a bit more cartoony, and honestly, I kind of like this new visual style. Like I said, it was highly rated on other platforms, but bombed in sales. But the Nintendo Switch version of the game will be releasing for $40, whereas when it initially released on the PlayStation 4 and Xbox One, it was $60. I think this is going to be an excellent 3D platforming adventure. I thought the Crash Bandicoot Insane trilogy was really well done. Spyro Reignited was also well done. So Crash Bandicoot 4 It's About Time will probably be a big winner when it hits the Nintendo Switch on March 12th. Next up, we have Kingdom of Amalur: ReReckoning coming to the Nintendo Switch on March 16th. Now, really, this is just like a big-ass game that kind of reminds me of Skyrim. It's an action RPG style adventure in which you create a character and then set out into the world. You level up your character, you do different quests, and of course you're battling different creatures, monsters, and other humans. I really know nothing about the Kingdom of Amalur games, but I do know that I'm getting a lot of Skyrim and Dragon's Dogma vibes, which are very appealing, and honestly, the combat combat looks really fun as well, because I'm sure there's a bunch of different types of combat that you could do in the game. It looks good, it's fast, it's bloody, and it's a big game that's only going to be $40 on the Nintendo Switch. As long as the visuals are up to par with other versions of the As long as the visuals are pretty decent on this game, I think it could be a big game for fans of games like Skyrim, and like I said, Kingdom of Amalur: ReReckoning comes out on the Switch on March 16th. Also on March 16th, RBI Baseball 21 is coming to the Nintendo Switch. Now, pretty much every year I review the RBI Baseball games, and there's always something missing from them, but it seems like maybe they've been listening to me, because all the things that I've complained about in last year's edition seem to be getting fixed in this year's edition. Now, for whatever reason, the MLB likes to copyright strike whenever you use the trailer for this game, so I'm just going to use still images. But the main thing that's happening with this game is that you finally have customization with Create a Player mode, increased customizations from different camera angles and batting control, and finally play-by-play commentary, which was desperately needed in this game. I don't think RBI Baseball is necessarily bad, but it's always just been sort of missing something, and it seems like this year maybe they finally got things right. Now, it is a $30 budget title, so keep that in mind, but RBI Baseball 21 will be hitting the Nintendo Switch on March 16th, and I guess I'm going to review it again because I always seem to review these damn. Another game that comes out on March 16th is a game that I'm really looking forward to, and that is Stubs the Zombie and Rebel Without a Pulse. Now, this of course was a cult hit on the original Xbox. It was an original Xbox exclusive, and it's one of the more higher end Xbox games, commonly going for over $100 nowadays. Basically, the game is set in 1959 in the city of Punch Bowl, Pennsylvania, which is sort of a neo-futuristic city, and you're a zombie named Stubbs who is out for chaos. You of course have to take out humans. You could build a zombie horde to take out other humans, and you pretty much have to wreak havoc on the town. Now, the Nintendo Switch version of the game does have local co-op supported, and the visuals have been spruced up a bit, along with improved controls over the original release of the game. As someone who's never played Stubs the Zombie but always wanted to, but that high price sort of turned me off, the $20 release on the Nintendo Switch is definitely something I'm picking up on day one. And like I said, Stubs the Zombie and Rebel Without a Pulse comes out on March 16th, and I think it's going to be another cult classic. On March 19th, Plants vs. Zombies: The Battle for Neighborville Complete Edition is coming to the Nintendo Switch, which is yet another game from EA. Now, what's interesting about this game is this uses the Frostbite engine that supposedly EA didn't want to put on the Nintendo Switch because they couldn't, but hey, I guess when things start selling well, you kind of change your tune. There's offline stuff where you could do things in Giddy Park, player versus environment, free roam areas, and private play that you don't need an internet connection. Of course, the main meat of the game is the 8-on-8 multiplayer and turf takeover, where you're basically trying to take out other people. There's motion controls and touch menus for the Nintendo Switch version of the game, and I don't know, this game does seem pretty fun. I've never really gotten into the Plants vs. Zombies games, but maybe I will check this game out, more importantly, just to see how the Frostbite engine runs on the Nintendo Switch. Plants vs. Zombies: Battle for Neighborville Complete Edition, March 19th on your Nintendo Switch. Now, we've already had one Harvest Moon game coming out for the Switch in the month of March, but technically there's two, because the series that became Harvest Moon, which is Story of Seasons, is getting a release for a new Nintendo Switch game on March 23rd with Story of Seasons: Pioneers of Olive Town. Now, you basically cultivate your farm, you cultivate your town, you tame the wilderness, you build your farm from the ground up, you gather and process materials to fulfill requests and improve Olive Town's infrastructure, upgrade tools, or commission new outfits and accessories. Beyond just tending to your farm, you can find these things called Earth Sprites, which will take you away to various lands, such as an island in the sky or even inside of a volcano. Of course, there's a bunch of different people living in Olive Town as well. There's local festivals, and you get to know your neighbors better with over 200 unique events, and once again, you can even find love and marry someone in this game. So you can get married twice on the Nintendo Switch in the month of March with Harvest Moon game and Story of the Seasons: Pioneers of Olive Town. Story of Seasons: Pioneers of Olive Town comes out on March 23rd, and once again, if you're a fan of Animal Crossing games, you're probably going to have this game on your radar. On March 23rd, Tales from the Borderland is hitting the Nintendo Switch. Now, this game takes place in between Borderlands 2 and Borderlands 3 story. Now, of course, Borderlands 2 is on the Nintendo Switch, but Borderlands 3 is not, but there are rumors that Borderlands 3 will be getting a Nintendo Switch release. It's essentially a typical Telltale game. All 5 of the original episodes are included, and I honestly don't really care about this game. Borderlands is a decent franchise. I don't really care about the story and the lore of this, though, but if you are into things like this, and you enjoyed the Borderlands 1 and 2 collection on the Nintendo Switch, you might want to check out Tales from the Borderlands when it comes out on March 23rd. On March 26th, we have one of two games coming out on the Nintendo Switch. We'll talk about the first one, and that is, of course, Balan Wonderworld. I mean, I had such high expectations for this game. I played the demo, and the demo definitely disappointed me. And yes, things can improve from a demo, I completely get it, but really, I just didn't like what I played in this game. I thought there were some interesting core ideas and core concepts, but just the execution of them definitely left me feeling sort of empty and hollow inside. I thought this was gonna be my AAA nights, and it's not my AAA nights. If anything, it's nowhere near AAA nights, so it definitely left me with a bit of heartbreak. Will I end up picking it up? I don't know. I'm definitely on the fence about it. Maybe a review of it is in order on the channel. But yes, Balan Wonderworld comes out on March 26th on the Nintendo Switch. And Yuji Naka, you broke my heart, you son of a bitch! And the final game for March is a huge Nintendo Switch exclusive game, arguably one of the biggest games of 2021 so far, and that is Monster Hunter Rise, which will be also releasing on March 26th. Now, I mean, what can we really say about this game? It looks absolutely beautiful. It is one of the top 5 looking Nintendo Switch games, and it's not even out yet. Look at the character models for the different beasts and monsters that you encounter. The gameplay is much more refined with the ability to sort of fast travel with this new beam mechanic. There is a demo available on the Nintendo Switch eShop right now, and I was absolutely just blown away by how much fun this game was. I am a fan of the Monster Hunter series, and I think Monster Hunter Rise is going to be a huge game when it hits the Nintendo Switch. And like I said, this is a Nintendo Switch exclusive. I've actually pre-ordered like the big edition that was like $100 and came with an amiibo and stuff like that. I don't even know why. It just looks sort of cool, and I really want to support this game because Capcom is doing some fantastic things on the Nintendo Switch. Of course, this is the introduction of the RE engine on the Nintendo Switch as well, which will hopefully pave the future for more RE engine games that come to the Nintendo Switch. If you only buy one game in the month of March, I think Monster Hunter Rise is that one game you need to pick up. And like I said, it'll be hitting on March 26th. Woo! All right. So those are the Nintendo Switch games for the month of March. Like I said, it is a stacked month. Just looking over the list, Sea of Solitude, I'm going to pick up. Apex Legends, yes. Crash Bandicoot 4, yes. Kingdom of Amalur, yes. RBI Baseball, yes. Stubs the Zombie, yes. And Monster Hunter Rise, yes. Like, those are just the guaranteed ones that I'm going to pick up. I might end up picking up something like Plants vs. Zombies to check out the Frostbite engine, Balan Wonderworld to review it. It's crazy to me. And not a lot of people are talking about just how stacked the month of March is. So, I mean, I guess that's why I exist. So let me know in the comment section down below what games you plan on picking up in the month of March for the Switch and how you're gonna pay for these games. Are you selling feet pics on OnlyFans? Because, I mean, I might. And as always, guys, thank you for checking out this video. If you are new to the channel, make sure you subscribe and turn on notifications. Be sure to check out other videos on the channel as well. And as always, I will catch you guys on the next one. Later.